This nut almost won. But Larry prevailed in the end. You see I'm a little sweaty. I've actually been working on this since yesterday. There's a nut that's right here on this front drive yoke here for the front differential. And there is a nut that holds that yoke on there. Guys, I've removed plenty of these things. And I have never in my life had this much trouble. Usually an impact, I usually use a 3/4 inch impact, but I don't have a 3/4 inch impact here. You know, we're kind of minimal on tools. He's building stuff, building the, you know, inventory up. So I used the big tire gun. This thing has 2,000 pounds of torque. And I put an adapter on it to take it to 1 inch to 3/4. Got that big socket on there. It fits this here nut. And I put it on there and I wrapped on that thing. It would not let loose. So then I set up the torch, and that torch I brought out here, it's been sitting for like 12 years or so. We tried firing it up and it just, the handle was not working correctly. It wouldn't cut or nothing. The valve, the little thumb valve on there wouldn't release, and it was just probably all buggered up. So I ended up having to go out and buy a new torch tip and all, you know, all this stuff. Get the torch working right. Then I'd get it hot enough, it would get red. I put that thing on there and I would wrap on it. I was doing it yesterday. I actually sheared off an impact. I actually sheared that thing off. And I had to go get a new one yesterday. So this morning it was my mission. I'm just gonna do this thing. And I've been working on this for probably about an hour. And I would heat this nut up just red hot all the way around. And I would wrap on it and it would just not let loose. And I was like, you're not gonna win, nut. The thing is, I gotta replace the bearing in here and the seal is leaking. So I have to get this off. And so I have been working on this. And so finally I decided what I'm gonna have to do is take the cutting torch and try to cut and heat this up. And that's what I did. And you gotta be really careful not to go through and hit the threads on that shaft. You do that, you booger those threads up. I mean, that's a lot of money for that thing. So you gotta be very careful. And if you actually look at it, I just started to go through on a spot. And then, and so I stopped and it was all red hot, and I took a chisel here and I held it up in there, and I took a hammer and I tried to make a notch and cut it loose. And I was working on hammering, and finally I thought I'm gonna grab the impact and try one more time with it cut like this and everything. And I sat there wrapping on it, and finally, blah, it spun loose. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if this has been on since originally. This truck's 2012. I don't know if it's been on since original, and it was just so rusted on there. The threads are all good. Or I don't know if somebody had this off and didn't, because you're supposed to replace this. This is a one-time nut. You replace it if you take this off. Maybe somebody had this off at some point in time and they didn't have another nut or something, didn't know you're supposed to replace it, and put like green Loctite, which is permanent Loctite. But the heat should have broke that loose. I don't know. But whoo! Nut 0, Larry 1. Yuppie. Oh, right on that carpet. It's hot. Let's start the boss's office on fire. I don't know if it's that hot yet anymore. But she's pretty warm. I think this is rubber, so it might be. It's not that hot anymore. Oh yeah, it's getting cool out. So we got it off. So now I just got to pull. I just got to pull that yoke off, which is an easy situation. We have a yoke puller right here. And a real nice one from Tiger Tools. Alright guys, we're going to start using this here. We're going to start setting up this puller here. Still a little warm. And then this here threads in. Here we go. You want to make sure you get it right into the center of that shaft. So, we're hoping that this impact gun will be enough to drive it off. If it isn't, I'll have to get a big one out. But you just hook her on there and wrap on it. Oh yeah, no problem. There we go. There it is. There it is off. The whole problem with it is that the seal is leaking. This seal is leaking down here. So we're going to be replacing the seal, but there's also a lot of wear in there. So there's a bearing that's right behind that seal, so we're also going to be replacing that bearing too. I'm going to do that. The parts are supposed to be coming in today. Little patches coming off there. This is from that supplement stuff that my girl is got me doing, and it's going pretty good. The first week it was kind of like a detox. You're taking all this powder and all these supplements and these pills, and then you put these. I can't remember what they're called. She's more technical on this stuff. But it's a patch, and you put it on areas that have like pain or something like that. You kind of move it around your body or whatever, and it kind of puts something in there and it helps it out. My thumb has been hurting me the last couple days, so I put one of these on yesterday, and now today it feels pretty good. And I thought I'd do one more day on here. I think it's a tendon in here that's hurting. So this is coming off there. That's what that's for. So there we go. So we got that yoke off. I'm actually going to pull the yoke off the center drive shaft and off the back of the transmission while I'm doing this. Same kind of procedure. I'm hoping these maybe come off a little easier. But yeah, same kind of procedure, so it shouldn't be a big deal. You can see the yokes come right off. Got the right tool, you got this puller, they just come right off of here. But I figure he's gonna be bringing a new carrier bearing. This carrier bearing was just shot. I mean, you can see it was just all torn to pieces and everything. What a carrier bearing is that end down there hooks up to the transmission, and then this right here is the middle of the drive shaft. See, there's another section of a drive shaft here, and then this piece of this rear drive shaft actually floats in and out for the suspension. As you hit bumps, the drive shaft can move back and forth. But you have a carrier bearing, it mounts up to the frame. You can see the mounts right there that holds this rubber piece and everything, and there's an actual bearing on the inside there. Now you're supposed to, you can get these pulled off and everything. You can also just do it by just cutting them. That's what I've been doing. But I thought I'd show you the inside of this bearing. It's actually got some big bearing here. But just what I'm doing is this. I took a cut-off grinder wheel, that thing right there, and I just cut through. And now I'm taking a punch and just punching it off. You just got to be careful not to go onto the drive shaft face and scar any of that. But you just kind of work it around, work it around. It's just like a puller, you know. You can take it to a shop and they'll just pull it off, but you can do it yourself right in the shop. So I'm going to finish this up. There you go. Here's the actual bearing part of it. we go. A little heat. You just got to make sure that you don't cut too deep with that angle. You can see, I mean, I'll show you. This thing's really hot. I gotta get it off. What I did, you can see how I did that. I cut to where it wasn't showing any crack. I kind of kept a real close eye at it, and I cut it down but not going through. And then I took a chisel, put it in there, and gave her a couple whacks, and it cracked it. And it heated up, still wouldn't come off, so I had to do that. But you can see, right there is where I cut it. Not a scar in there whatsoever. It's perfect. So, it's pretty easy. Seal is just pressed in right here. Kind of just dent it in like that. It kind of relieves a little bit of stress, and you can go around with it and angle it and kind of start pounding it out like that. There she goes. Seal is out. I actually need to drain this. I haven't drained this yet. I just found that. Right, we got that draining down there. I'm going to pull out the keeper here. The bearing is not, it's loose, it's worn. But it's not making noise or nothing that I can hear or anything like that. It's just got a little bit of play to it. So I'm actually going to try something. I'm going to try to tighten this and see if I can get another click on this and see if I can keep the bearing in there. Make the job a lot easier. I was able to get to the next tooth. I gotta get a screwdriver so I can clean that out. See, there's little catches in here. And those little catches is where it locks it into place. You tighten it up, take away the free play to set it when you put a new bearing in. So still fine. Still moving fine. And that did take out the play. So